Hi, I'm Jeff, and welcome to another one of my videos where I give you the opportunity to test your comic book grading skills up against actual results from CGC. This video is part 9 in my series of videos featuring Octavio's books. Octavio is my very good friend who made his books available to all of us to practice our comic book grading skills, and Octavio, thank you so much for that. I really appreciate that. Let me quickly explain what we do in these videos. First, what we do is we take a look at video that I made of the books that we're going to look at today when they were raw, before they got sent out to CGC. We're going to take a look at that video and we're going to assess the books for any damage, any defects, anything that might impact the grade negatively. Then we're going to give our best guess as to what we think the grade should be. Once we've done that, we're going to unbox these books and we're going to see what the actual grades are from CGC. Then we can compare our grades up against that. Did we nail it when we're expert graders? Fantastic for us. Or were we off by a little or a lot? That provides us with opportunities to learn. We can go back now and look at the video of the books when it was raw, now knowing the grades, and we can kind of educate ourselves so that we can become better, smarter, more accurate submitters to CGC, which is an important thing to be when you're trying to protect your investment and to make sure not to put money into a book that's going to grade much lower than what you would hope in order to retain value. All right, this video actually features some bonus books, and I'll explain that a little bit more later in the video. But let's go ahead now and move forward and take a look at the books we're going to be talking about today when they were raw. First book today is The Omega Men, issue number 3. First appearance of Lobo there. Let's take a look at this book. First off, I see flaws. So we know immediately it is not a 9.8. Some small flaws, but nothing too scary. But there's a little bit of a small color breaking spine tick there. Really small. There's maybe one by the signature there a little bit. Now here's where there's one in that black cloud. There's another one by the bottom of the title. Another one. They break color, they do, but they're very slight, but they're there. They will add up and they will hurt the grade. I think it's still probably in the 9.0 category, but hanging on strong. The rest of this book looks really good. I remind everybody, I like to take my books to places where there is overhead light. Shine it directly down on the book. That hot spot of light will show you a lot of creases that are easy to miss with the naked eye. And those creases really do hurt the grade. So make sure you're using some light like that to try to find creases. This book doesn't appear to have any of those types of creases. It just has the wear and tear of the color breaking spine ticks on the front. Maybe a little something there in the corner that would hurt the grade. But all in all, pretty good looking. You'd expect the creases on the front maybe to come around to the back, but the back looks really good on the spine there. So yeah, I think it's mostly those things on the front. I'm going to go with 9.0 on this book. Next up, we have Green Lantern issue number 25. Let's see what we have here. Looks pretty good at first glance. Looks like there's some stresses in there. We're going to get another look. Okay, so there appears to be a color-breaking spine tick right there at the bottom. Looks like there's a tiny one right there. There's definitely one right there and one right there. They're small, but they are there. That light, once again, that you're bouncing off the cover from overhead, that light will also help you find those spine stresses, which could lead you to whether or not they're color breaking. If they're color breaking, you're just gonna take the hit. If they're not color breaking, maybe you could press it out, or maybe it's just gonna get by. But regardless, you want to be aware of them so that you can consider them when you're considering your grade. The back of this book looks good. This might be a case similar to the last book where all the flaws appear to be on the front. There's maybe a little something there in the art, maybe a little rub, and maybe a little kind of abrasion there along the edge and the bottom. Nothing too significant considering how black those sections are of this book. It looks pretty okay. Yeah, this is a good one. It's definitely in better condition than the last one. So I am going to go with 9.4 on this. And finally, the last book we're going to be taking a look at in the raw today is this Swamp Thing book. Let's see here. This one looks pretty good, but it does have a small little color breaking spine tick there. There's one by the staple. You see the way the light interacts with it. We're going to get a better look at it as we go down this angle. There's the one we were talking about. There's another one. I think that was the other one we saw. Not too bad looking, though. This is issue 50, by the way. I didn't mention that before. There's maybe a little bit of like... Sometimes I think on the outer edge of the front of the cover, sometimes you see little lifts that create little creases from people opening up the cover. Be careful when you're reading your books when you do that. This book's pretty good. Maybe a little bit of debris and staining there along the edge and there by the M&M. Oh, look at that. Look at that stain right there. Oh, see, CGC hates stains, and that's a light stain. Oh, boy. Wow, then that changes everything. This book is definitely going to be hurt by that. It's not a huge stain, but it's of a significant enough size that I think we're going to see some real impact. So it's a good-looking book. That stain hurts it a lot. I'm going to go with an 8.5 on it. All right, so you've had the opportunity to assess the next set of books that we are going to be looking at in this video. You've seen them in the raw. You've checked out all the flaws they have. You have your best guess for what you think the grade might be. I have done the same, and I have shared that grade with you. Now let's see what the actual results are from CGC. I'm going to pull out the first one in here. And let's go ahead and take a look at what it is. It is Omega Men, issue number 3. I assessed this book at a 9.0. Keep in mind what guess you gave it. Let's see what CGC gave it. Okay, I did pretty well in the last video. Let's see if I did well in this one. 9.2. Okay, that is totally fine with me. That's exactly what my kind of typical is. I tend to be one increment low, at least I like to call it my typical. If I'm within one increment, I consider that definitely a win, especially if my guess was one grade lower than the one that was assigned by CGC. So I think I did well on that one with my 9.0 guess and it getting a 9.2. Let's move on to the next one, which is Green Lantern, issue number 25. Now, wait a minute. Hold on a second. This is... Okay. So there are 2 copies of Green Lantern, issue number 25, that are in the submission that I do not have video of when they were raw. For whatever reason, it's just missing, or I missed it, or I didn't do it, whatever. So we're going to just look at it really quickly. I mean, I can't really properly grade it right now in real time, especially in its case. I can tell you they continue to have Newton rings. But looking at it, I'm going to say that it's very high grade. I don't see any flaws jumping out at me immediately. So I'm going to say that it's probably very high grade in the 9.6, 9.8, 9.4 range. Let's go ahead and just show you. This is not as dramatic. 9.6. Okay, so maybe I see a little bit of something here on the front that gets in the 9.6. Really quickly looking at it, that grade seems to be true. So I'm going to give CGC points for that one. Let's look at this next one. It should be that other issue. Yes, so it's the same book. I see a flaw, so I'm going to see immediately that it's not a 9.8. But you know, 9.8s, as I've said before, can have flaws. So it's possible that even with that flaw, it is a 9.8. Something else to keep in mind is I've submitted multiple of the same books before and they switched the labels. So you could have a 9.6 that gets a 9.8 label and a 9.8 that gets a 9.6 label, because CGC will sometimes switch labels. And in an instance like that, when they're the exact same book, you're not going to know for sure which one's which and if they made that mistake. So something that's kind of sketchy to keep in mind. But let's see. I think this is also a high grade. I'm going to guess it's a 9.4 or a 9.6. Let's see, a 9.4. Okay, great. So like I said, I had a hard time seeing flaws on that first one, and it got a 9.6. I immediately saw a flaw on that second one, and it got a 9.4. So I'm going to say that kind of tracks. All right, so we're going to get back on track ourselves by looking at books that I did have video of when it was raw that we can assess. This is the Green Lantern 25. This is the variant cover, the one in 25, I believe. But this is a variant cover for this book. I did have this one in the raw. You've all seen the video, and I guessed it was a 9.4. Let's go ahead right now and see what CGC gave it. Okay, you've seen it, and now I'll see it. 9.2. Okay, so, and the mud spill, the Newton rain on there. There's so many of them happen. Okay, that's frustrating. But I guess a 9.4. This was a 9.2. I'm going to call that pretty close within the realm of acceptability. I was off by 1. As always, I hope to be off by 1 in the higher than I anticipated, but this was lower than I anticipated, but still 1 increment off is not so bad. And the final book that we're going to be looking today in this video is Swamp Thing, issue number 50. Let me find it on the list. There it is. I had assessed it at an 8.5. Let's see what grade it got from CGC. Okay. Did I get this one right? 9.2, no. But 8.5 to 9.2, once again, is 2 increments. I am okay with being off by 2 increments, especially in these higher grades, and I want it to be off in that direction, so that's not so bad. But as always, and as I often recommend in these videos, I will be going back, and now that I know what the grades are, and re-watching the video that I made of them when they were raw, and seeing what did I miss? What kind of context do I have for how CGC grades now that I know for sure what the final results were as far as the grade is concerned? All right, if you like this video, likes are appreciated by me. Let me know down in the comments how you did with your grading of these books, how far off you were, how you think CGC, did they nail it or did they blow it? And then in addition, if you haven't already subscribed, I invite you to subscribe to watch more of the videos from this series. As always, thank you so much for watching this video. I'll see you in the next one.